Welcome to rSlash Am I the Butthole, where OP's scummy family wants a cut of her $2 million lottery winnings. Our next post is an update to a post that I did a couple of weeks ago. As a quick recap, in the original post, OP is a homeowner and this random pregnant lady knocks on his door and asks to give birth in his bedroom because this was the house that she was born in, so she wants to give birth to her baby here too. Well, about 3 weeks later, OP posts an update. Last week, Friday, at about 1:30, I get a knock and a heavy pounding at my door. I go to answer, wondering just who the hell would be visiting me in the middle of the night, when I see a familiar face at the door. It's the pregnant woman with her husband or boyfriend or partner, I don't know what, and 2 women who I assume are midwives. From what I gather, the pregnant lady went into labor earlier that day and was hoping that I changed my mind, and I haven't, and I asked them all to leave. The woman starts having either a breakdown or a contraction or something, because she just starts screaming in my driveway. One of the other... Sorry, this is ridiculous. One of the other women in the group explains to me that they drove 4 hours to get there, and if I wouldn't mind setting them up, she tells me that the pregnant lady told them that she had arranged for this house and that she was nearly ready to push. From what I understood, the pregnant lady had lied to her midwife about me agreeing to this and essentially tried to trick her into forcing me into letting this happen in my house. I tell her a firm no, and that if needed, there's a hospital only 5 minutes away from where I live. And I ask them all to leave. The woman starts screaming and crying about how I'm ruining this for her, but between me closing and locking the door, her partner, and her midwives, she gets back into her van and drives off. After they all left, I did call the police non-emergency line and update them on what's going on, and I gave them the footage of the previous incident and the latest video that I have of the incident. I'm really hoping that now that she's giving birth, she'll leave me alone. Either way, in addition to my Ring camera, I've asked my neighbors to keep an eye out and call me if anything happens while I'm at work. I also got deadbolts to install for all my exterior doors. Am I the butthole for accepting cake at my friend's birthday party? And yeah, I realize this title is super boring sounding, but hey, it's got 12,000 upvotes, so it's gotta be good. I'm a 41-year-old man, and I was at a friend's birthday party on the weekend just past. There were 9 of us at the party, including the birthday boy. Amy, who's 30, was one of the guests, and she baked a cake for the birthday boy. After the relevant party traditions of singing the birthday song and the hip hip harangue that happens after the birthday song here in Australia, I went back to talking to one of my friends when Amy came up to me and the other friend with 2 plates of cake, and she offered them to my friend and I. We both said yes, thanked her, and then she made a really odd face and walked away. My friend and I both said, "That was weird," and went back to chatting. I ate some of the cake, and it had coconut inside, which I don't particularly like. So after a couple of bites, I ignored it and then chucked it out when the party ended about an hour or so later. 45 minutes ago, Steven, who's Amy's partner, sent me a series of angry texts at 8 a.m. on a Monday morning, saying how Amy spent last night crying about how she didn't get to eat any of her cake and that I took a slice of it only to throw it away and deprive her of her own cake. And that she only cut 8 slices since she knows that I don't like coconut, but I took her slice and threw it away to spite her. I replied, why did she even offer me any cake if she knew there was coconut inside? Steven said that she did it to be polite and to not leave me out, and that I was a butthole for taking her slice and throwing it away. I forwarded the message to my other friends that were there, and most of them have left me on red so far, except for one who responded with a thumbs down emoji. The fact that no one's responding is making me worry that I might have been the butthole here. Amy is 30 years old, you guys, a grown adult. I would expect this behavior out of 8-year-olds, because an 8-year-old wouldn't have the foresight to think, there's 9 people, maybe I should cut the cake so there's at least 9 slices and not 8 slices. And then she cried. She spent all night crying, up at 3 a.m. Oh, boo, hoo, hoo, hoo. He stole my slice of cake. Yo, what is she, a child? And why is it on you to give her your slice of cake? What about Steven, her partner? So this guy, this boyfriend was just, nom nom. Oh, I'm sorry you didn't get any cake, sweetie. Nom nom. That really sucks. Nom. Yo, who are these people? These people are all goofy. So I'm giving Amy 1 out of 5 buttholes. Her behavior is more weird than it is butthole-ish. And OP, I'm giving you 5 out of 5 buttholes for throwing away coconut cake because coconut cake is the most delicious dessert that has ever been created by mankind. Okay, all right, down in the comments, Admirable Cost says, if Amy at her age is crying all night for a piece of cake, she needs to see a psychiatrist urgently. And OP replies, ironically, her boyfriend Steven is a psychiatrist. Am I the butthole for telling my dad's parents that I don't want them at my graduation when they said I wasn't their real grandson? I'm an 18-year-old guy, and in November, my dad's parents and my mom got into an argument because my grandparents said they decided to start a college fund for my 11-year-old brother. It wasn't even brought up. My grandparents decided to just share this information on their own. My mom was confused since they mentioned it out of the blue, but thanked them. She asked them why they decided to make one now and why they brought it up. They said something about wanting to do it for their grandson and making sure he's set so that he doesn't have to worry about paying for college. My mom then asked if they had started one for me, and they said that I wasn't their real grandson. So the answer was no, and they didn't have one for me. They added something about how I would get something else and accused my mom of expecting too much. For context, my dad adopted me when I was 5. He started dating my mom when I was 2. I don't know my biological father personally, but I know of him. He died when I was 3, and my mom told me that he wasn't a good person and was in and out of jail. My dad is the only dad I've ever known, and I always thought that his parents accepted me. But hearing them basically say that I wasn't their real grandson hurt. It wasn't even about the money. It was the fact that I was excluded and realizing the only reason why was because I wasn't my dad's biological son. This argument happened right in front of me and my brother. Right in front of me and my brother. Just a few days before Thanksgiving. Since then, I viewed my dad's parents differently and tried to keep my distance from them. They eventually apologized for saying that I wasn't their real grandson, but only because my dad basically forced them to. Over time, I realized that I didn't really care anymore, that I just loved them more than they loved me. School's almost back in, and I take senior pictures soon. My dad's parents were over for Christmas, and my parents brought up me taking pictures. That led to my dad's parents talking about how excited they were to see me graduate and how they couldn't wait. This confused me. It honestly did, because a month ago, they basically told me that I wasn't their real grandson, and now they're excited to see their grandson graduate. I told my grandparents that they weren't coming and that I didn't want them there. Of course, this shocked my parents and my dad's parents. They asked why, and I told them that I remember them saying that I wasn't their real grandson. So it doesn't make sense for them to want to come to my graduation when they have no ties to me. My dad looked upset, and his parents were too. My grandparents basically said that I should move on since they already apologized and meant no harm. I told them that when they apologized, it was only because my dad told them to. After that, it got awkward. This happened during Christmas, and I haven't seen them since. My dad told me they're hurt by what I said, and I should apologize and let them know that I didn't mean it, and I'd still like them to come. I told him I meant what I said, and that I don't want them there. It's not like I can stop them from coming anyway, but I'd prefer if they didn't since they have no reason to be there. He says their feelings are hurt. It's honestly embarrassing to think that they've been my grandparents my whole life, only to find out they didn't even think of me as their grandson. My mom says she agrees with me, but thinks I should consider my dad's feelings since this puts him in a hard position and he wants everyone to be family. I'm not trying to hurt my dad, but I just don't want his parents at my graduation when I just found out they didn't accept me. Your grandparents not accepting you is bad enough as it is. Actually verbalizing it and showing it in action by showing preference to your younger brother is worse. Verbalizing it in front of you, to your face, and telling you in person, hey, I don't see you as my grandson, is one of the worst things you can do to a kid. So screw them. Why are you supposed to care about the feelings of these random people who have no ties to you? OP, you get 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving your grandparents, if you can even call them that, 3.5 out of 5. Am I the butthole for refusing to give my lottery winnings to my family after they excluded me from a family trip? I'm a 28-year-old woman, and I come from a family of 5. My parents, my 2 siblings, a 30-year-old brother and 25-year-old sister, and me. Growing up, I was always the black sheep. My siblings were the golden children, and while I wasn't outright ignored, I definitely got the short end of the stick. A few months ago, my family planned a big overseas trip. I found out through my sister's Instagram posts, not from them directly. When I asked why I wasn't included, my mom said, "We didn't think you'd want to come, and besides, we're tight on budget." It hurt, but I let it go. Fast forward to a month ago. I bought a lottery ticket on a whim and ended up winning a life-changing amount, over $2 million. I decided to use the money wisely, paid off debts, invested, and set aside some for fun. I didn't tell my family right away because I didn't want them to treat me differently. Well, word got out after I bought a new car, and now they're furious that I didn't offer to share the wealth. My mom said that it's selfish to keep all that money to myself when they're struggling, which is news to me given the vacation. My sister hinted that I should pay off her student loans, and my brother outright asked me to buy him a house. I calmly explained that I wasn't obligated to share just because we're related, especially given how they've treated me in the past. I mentioned the trip as an example of how I've been excluded. My dad said, "That was different. This is family money." Now they're calling me an ungrateful brat and saying I'm ruining the family dynamic. Am I the butthole for standing my ground and not giving them any money? OP, even if they did include you on the trip, you would still be justified in not giving any money because it's your money. If you don't want to give it, then that's your prerogative. But on top of that, they're still scumbags anyways and they're total hypocrites, so you shouldn't even feel bad about keeping the money to yourself. Enjoy the rest of your life, OP. I'm giving you 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving your family 1.5 out of 5 buttholes. Am I the butthole for losing my cool and screaming at my girlfriend to get out of my house after what her stepbrother did? My girlfriend was over at my place 2 days ago. We're both 20. She has a stepbrother who's 23. Before this, I'd only met him a few times, and he seemed like a regular dude. My girlfriend asked if it was okay for her stepbrother to come over for a couple of hours. I said why not. He said that he would get booze and pizza, and my parents were away visiting relatives for the weekend, so I figured we could shoot the shit. I have a little sister who's 15. Uh-oh. They came over and she stayed up in her room the entire time. We were all a bit tipsy, and my girlfriend's stepbrother asked if he could use the washroom. I pointed him to the one down the hall. My girlfriend and I were preoccupied and didn't even realize how much time he was taking until we heard raised voices upstairs. We immediately went to check what was going on and found my sister crying. This dude had gone upstairs instead of using the washroom. My sister's door had been ajar, so he apparently walked into her room. She was shocked and was trying to stay calm, but he wasn't leaving. He was trying to chat her up. She told him to get the hell out, and he closed the door behind him instead, which is why she started freaking out. She tried to get past him to open the door, and he grabbed her, but she managed to open it anyway. I'd reached the landing by then, so he backed off. Obviously, I was super effing pissed. There was a lot of screaming going on, lots of accusations. We were all drunk except for my sister. After getting the story from her, my girlfriend's stepbrother was stuttering and deflecting. I'm pretty sure I threatened violence at some point. My girlfriend was trying to be the mediator. She said I had to calm down and couldn't fly off the handle based on word of mouth. But I was there. I saw my sister crying in panic. I know what she's like, and I know she wouldn't lie about something like this. Why would she? I told her stepbrother to get out of my house. My girlfriend kept saying that we could sort this out and have a proper conversation, but I didn't see what conversation there was to be had. Eventually, she said, "What if my sister was lying?" in front of my sister's face. I asked her what on earth would make her lie like that, and she said she's a kid and could be making it up for attention. So I lost my cool. I told her to get the hell out, and afterwards she kept calling me, but I ignored everything. The dust has settled a bit. I went over everything again with my little sister. She promised me that it happened the way she was telling me. She told me she was scared that he was going to sexually assault her. My girlfriend texted me this morning saying I shouldn't have raised my voice like that and that I scared her. I thought about apologizing then, but she still hasn't said a word about apologizing to my sister or addressing the issue with her stepbrother. I only replied that we had to talk, and she said there's nothing to talk about. There's no hard proof, in her words. And the stepbrother ended up doing nothing, so she told me that she would deal with him, and I should drop it. I don't know if I'm the butthole for the way I handled this. Maybe if cooler heads prevailed, this silent treatment wouldn't have happened, and we could have discussed everything. I don't know what to do from now on either. I love that girl. I don't want us to be over, so I want some advice on where to go from here too. Alright, OP's posted an update, and I hope to hell that he dumped her because this whole family is looking pretty toxic here. The update is 1 day later. My girlfriend asked me yesterday if we could talk in person. I agreed, and we met at a public park. She showed up looking on the verge of tears. She let me speak and was silent for a long time before she said that she was sorry for the way that she reacted. She told me that she had been drunk and panicked and hadn't been thinking clearly, and she was trying to stop it from becoming a fight. We discussed her stepbrother. She told me he has a weird streak and acts oddly sometimes. She told me he genuinely could have made a mistake and didn't mean any harm. I asked why he went upstairs in the first place and why he had shut himself in the room with my sister on finding out that he was in the wrong room. No answer. I asked how she was so sure that he had no perverted intentions. No answer. Some commenter suggested that the stepbrother might have had a history and even might have done something to her. I didn't outright say it, but I was implying it. I kept saying, what if he had gone further? What if he's assaulted someone before and you don't know about it? I asked if there had been incidents like this before, and if so, how could she possibly downplay what happened? She didn't have anything to say, but again, at that point, she was so choked up to speak properly, so I don't think she could have answered even if she wanted to. Anyways, I wasn't there to listen to excuses or justifications, and I told her that. She asked me if we were over, and I said the only way we could move forward is if she apologized to my little sister and stopped all contact with her stepbrother. I just don't see a scenario where my sister feels comfortable around him again. She told me she didn't want to lose me, but she couldn't do what I asked from her. So I told her, yeah, we're done. Also, my parents came back. My sister asked me to speak to them on her behalf, and I told them everything. My dad gave me a lot of flack, rightfully so. He says that he wants to speak to my ex's parents about this and let them know what their son did. The police are here, and they're about as useful as tits on a bowl, but we discussed it and we're going to file a report. I doubt it'll go anywhere, but at least it's recorded in the system. My sister is doing better. She was really shaking up, and she asked if she could sleep in my parents' room or my room for a bit. We'll probably arrange a therapy or counseling session for her and let her decide if she wants to continue. I'm going to take her bowling and then we'll get food. Just the two of us, so I can also apologize on my part. I feel upset. I feel guilty, actually. I trusted my ex, and me being naive put my little sister in danger. I've always thought that I was a responsible person, and this happening when I was supposed to be in charge messed me up. OP, I'm so relieved to see that you dumped this girl, because how do you even excuse that behavior? You walk into a 15-year-old girl's house, she tells you to leave, and instead you close the door behind you? Revolting behavior. OP, you get 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving this creepy guy 4 out of 5 buttholes and your ex 2.5 out of 5 buttholes.
That was r/Am I the Butthole, and if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.